Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today I'm here with a very special guest, one of my really good friends, Shaylee. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
We are going to be answering some questions that you guys submitted to me on my Instagram. Normally I do these by myself, but it's always nice to get another female perspective, so let's get started. So if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I asked all my Instagram followers to submit questions. We're going to be answering those today, and if you don't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. Always love connecting with all of you guys on there, and that's the best way to participate in any kind of Q&A I do. How can men 5'7" and under stand out when girls always want tall guys? I would say be in shape and dress well.
I think confidence.
And confidence.
Yeah, if you don't act like you're insecure about being shorter, because really 5'7" isn't that short for a guy.
At all.
But
there's plenty of girls that are 5'2", 5'3", 5'4".
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't understand what the big hype is about women who are like 5'2", being like, oh, if he's under 6 foot, I don't want him.
Like why?
Okay,
You can't even reach him.
Yeah, like
let's be a little realistic about our standards and preferences. If you're 5'2", you don't need to be dating a guy that's 6 foot.
And if you are shorter or feel insecure about your height as a man, just don't act like it. And if a woman is making a joke about it or seems to have an issue with it, laugh it off, brush it off, and she's clearly not for you.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say you have to do anything extra to stand out, because then it makes you look more insecure.
Yeah. But I would say the shorter guys that have the success are the ones who are confident and the ones who use what they've got. You know, they might not be 6 foot, but they know how to dress themselves. They're in shape, they work out. I mean, not everyone wins the genetic lottery, but it really is about working with what you've got to make the best of it. So if you're not the tallest, just focus on other things in ways that you can make yourself, more attractive. But there's nothing wrong with also being 5'7".
There's nothing wrong with being shorter,
No.
and some women like short men, just like short men like tall women.
Yep.
So you'll find the right person.
Yep.
Don't stress too much about height.
I will say I'm 5'5", and in high school I dated a guy who was the same height as me, maybe an inch if he had shoes on, and he was horrible about it. He was always talking about it, always making me feel bad for being like the same height as him, not letting me wear heels, just being so insecure. And that was what was a turnoff about it, not the fact that he was short. It was the fact that he constantly talked about it.
If you're drawing more attention to it than she might even be thinking of it, then
you don't need to highlight your insecurities.
Yeah.
They're with you for a reason. Number 11 is a juicy question. It's a little saucy. Should a guy be clean shaven down there?
That's personal preference.
First of all, I'll say I made an entire video about this. So if you haven't seen it, be sure to go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. It's literally called, what do women think about pubic hair? So it's very easy to find. But just generally, I would say it's personal preference. As long as you are clean and well-groomed and well-maintained, think of it as the way you would take care of your face, right? You want to trim it. You want to make sure it's not like crazy city jungle going on down there. But it doesn't have to be clean shaven. I think that depends on the girl that you're seeing.
Correct. And if you're in a relationship, it's something that maybe you can talk about openly.
You should be able to openly talk about this with your partner.
And if you're single and like mingling, it's a better bet to just be clean shaven than to just let it.
Or to keep it very short.
Just keep it groomed and you'll be in good shape.
Yep. Okay, next question is, my longtime female friend has been dropping hints left and right. What do I do? Before you even do anything, I want you to know that it's going to change your dynamic with her forever, regardless of if things work out or if they don't. So understand that going in. I know some guys are a little bit hesitant if it's a female friend they've had for years because they don't want to jeopardize or ruin that friendship, right?
Right. And I also think be sure that you're positive that they are dropping hints and you're not just misunderstanding what they're trying to say. Maybe they're just complimenting you and you're like,
she likes me,
she's
but she
interested
doesn't.
now. So just be sure, because if you bring up that conversation and you're wrong, it's going to make things very uncomfortable, even if you guys have been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And then
you could bring it up kind of lightly, like in a conversation, like joke about it, or just keep it kind of light in the beginning just to make sure that you guys are on the same page. I think I would need a little more context on what these dropping hints left and right are to tell you exactly what to do, but really it is so individualized and depends totally on the situation. But I have had guy friends where they thought I liked them and I totally didn't, and I was not giving them any signs, and I know that for a fact because I see them like a brother, and it ruined our friendship because it was just awkward from then on out. So
yeah, I would say I've experienced the same thing, and I also think if the hints that you're referring to are a constant thing where it's like you can't talk to them without feeling like they're dropping a hint or they're flirting, then you might just feel like at some point you have to say something,
Right.
to make sure that you're both clear about where you guys stand. If it's every once in a while they make a comment, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I wouldn't spend too much time thinking about it.
For sure.
It just depends how much it's impacting your friendship.
Yeah, and just understand, like, do you want to jeopardize that friendship or not? If you go for it, it might. So just know that going in. Okay, next question is how to get a girlfriend when you're an introvert. So I'm an introvert. All of you guys know that. I've done many videos about it on my channel. You have to put yourself out there. If you want something bad enough, you have to work for it. And I think regardless of how introverted you are, you have to just put yourself out there and get a little bit uncomfortable in order to get what you want. Now, I think a lot of guys get confused about the difference between an introvert and someone with social anxiety.
Correct.
So if you have social anxiety, that is a whole different ball game that you have to kind of work through and work out and, you know, kind of conquer and get past. But being introverted does not mean that you're awkward or shy around women. It just means that, you know, social situations kind of drain you and you prefer to be alone. In that case, like, if you want someone to spend your time with instead of being alone, you got to put yourself out there.
I think too, like, I let her take the lead on this because I'm very much not an introvert, so it's hard for me to relate. However, I would say if you're having a hard time getting out there and talking to girls, if you're going out with your friends or have an opportunity to be around women that you might be interested in, make it a goal for yourself. Like, okay, I'm going to go out tonight. I'm going to try to talk to one girl.
That's a good point.
And even just, like, you know, have a conversation starter or two, have a conversation, even if it goes nowhere, even if you're really not that interested. It's just practice, and it helps you feel more comfortable when you do meet somebody that you do really want to talk to.
Yep, that's so true. It builds your confidence, helps you get a little practice in. So the next question is, I like this girl a lot, but the problem is that our ideology about life is so different. Any advice?
So I think it depends what you mean by ideology. Are you talking morals? Are you talking, you know, maybe religion, or like, I don't know, there's politics. There's so many levels of what that word can mean. So I think it really depends. But what I would say is, if whatever you're referring to here is something that is going to affect your relationship long term, and it's going to maybe affect how you are parents, or, you know, if you're not married yet, it might affect how you are in a marriage. You know, there's a lot of things to consider here. But if your ideology is that different that it's going to affect your relationship down the line, then you need to address it. So you guys can have a conversation about it, or maybe that person just isn't for you. It just depends what you're referring to and how important that thing is to you.
For sure. And I do think if you're looking for something to be long term, it is important to have, you know, mutual values, morals, ideas about life, religion, politics. Like, having similarities when it comes to those things is incredibly important to build a sustaining relationship. And thinking about, you know, long term, being a parent, raising kids, like, all of that plays into how you raise your kids too. So if you're on totally different pages about all of that, kind of think about how that's going to affect your future. So really think long term. I know sometimes it's hard to do that, especially in the beginning of something when you're really excited about it, but that's going to save you so much time.
And if you're having this question in your mind right now, you're already like, I like her so much.
I think you know the answer.
Yes.
Yep. Next question. Why is it when you stop showing attention to a girl, she fiends for it more? Because girls like attention. We all like attention. And when you cut off our supply, it's like a drug dealer cutting off an addict's supply with attention.
It sounds horrible, but it's true. Especially like super single women who may have a few different guys they talk to.
And they're so used to that attention.
Yeah, and it's just fun. And then you stop, and then it's like, okay. And you think you might be stopping and be like, I'm just going to let her, you know, come back to me. Well, she probably will, but it's not because she likes you. It's because she likes the attention.
Exactly. So if you notice when you stop the attention, that's the only time she comes after you, that's a red flag, gentlemen. You got to stop pursuing women like that because they just want attention from you. I've also done an entire video all about that I will link down below for you guys, but it's so often very obvious when this is happening and you just kind of ignore it because you don't want to see those red flags, but they end up being the reason why things don't work out. So see things for what they are and not what you want them to be. Next question. A girl I like wants to hang out but always cancels and flakes when the day comes. Why is that? If she's canceling and flaking, she doesn't want to hang out with you and she's lying.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've met her before and she's just not wanting to hang out with you further, she doesn't like you and she's too afraid to hurt your feelings. If you've never met her, you could be dealing with a catfish. So regardless, this is red flag city, so just maybe she's not the one for you.
Yeah.
I get wanting to try. She could also be one of those people who does have social anxiety and is nervous about hanging out with you. So you just have to feel it out. But if it's happening more than twice in a row, I would say she's probably not really interested.
And even if she does have social anxiety, it gets to a point where it's like you can't keep wasting your time So I say a good rule of thumb is if you plan to hang out, she cancels or flakes once, okay. If she does it again, I'm sorry, but I would not waste my time any further with that, just because you can't just wait around for someone, right? They either want to hang out with you or they don't, and if she wanted to, she would be. So.
And you could be missing out on somebody else who is
Yeah.
really excited to hang out with you, but you're waiting around for somebody who's flaking on you all the time.
Yep. Next question is opinions on graphic t-shirts. Well, I hate them. I don't know what you think.
We've talked about this so much, like, to death. They are just don't, okay?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they can be done tastefully, incorporated in an outfit, maybe under like a jacket, something like that.
If you're a little more street style, I think sometimes they can work. But I'm just thinking like a graphic t-shirt with jeans, like I would always just choose a solid instead and use a layering piece to make it like a cool dimensional outfit instead of having that graphic tee.
Yeah, I can't really think of any situation where a graphic tee would be the better choice.
If you're in a band and you look a little punk rock.
Yeah, but okay, that's like 1% of people.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So just nowhere. Next question is, what is your number one deal breaker? I would say mine is someone who is a liar or not honest. That could be about how they feel about you. That could be about just lying about the dumbest thing, like what color their underwear are. I mean, there are like seriously chronic liars out there that will lie about anything. And I have dated too many liars to ever deal with one again. So if you lie to me once, you're done.
You're not coming from a place of resentment.
No, I'm a little biased there.
Yeah. So my answer, I mean, I guess it kind of ties in with yours as far as like loyalty goes. So like, I cannot stand a bro. Like, you can have your guy friends and that, you know, you have a really tight-knit group of friends, and that's awesome. But if you put your bros over your girl all the time, it's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
And, you know, your loyalty when you get into a relationship should be to your significant other and not to your bros. And it's just not a good look, especially if you're in your 30s and you still are putting your bros over a girl.
Yeah, and it's important to have friends, but I think there is sometimes a line that gets crossed with that. Like, I don't know, if your friends are like rude to your girlfriend or things like that where like you won't stand up for her, that's such a turn off. But yeah, that's if you're acting like a frat bro when you're in your 30s, that's a turn off.
Correct. And when is that going to change? You know, at some point you're probably going to have a family. You're going to need to grow out of that at some point.
Are you going to hang out with your bros when a diaper needs changed? Like, let's go. Next question, any tips on dating when you're living with your parents? When I met Teddy, he was living with his parents. We were young, so it wasn't a big deal. I don't think it really matters, to be honest.
The biggest thing I would say about this is make sure you talk about it up front in the beginning of a relationship. You don't have to advertise it. You don't need to tell somebody, like, the first thing about you is that you live with your parents.
Yeah, you don't have to act like you're all embarrassed about it or insecure about it. Like, oh, by the way, just so you know, I live with my mom. But you don't want to lie about that, because if she shows up to your house and your parents are sitting in the living room and she has no idea that you live with your parents, that's going to be a little bit of a turnoff for her.
Or if you're always trying to hang out other places and you're not explaining why maybe you don't want to go to your place, just be open and upfront. Like, there's nothing embarrassing about it unless you make it embarrassing. And if you lie about something like that early on, even if you are just ashamed, explain it. Don't lie about it.
It's going to be a bigger red flag that you lied.
Absolutely.
But there's this funny thing that people say. It's like, girls will date a guy that lives with his wife but not his parents.
Oh my God, that's so true.
And it's true.
That's sad.
And in that case, I would say if a girl is like that, you don't want to pursue her. Just that's a red flag for you.
Yes.
But I've seen that a lot. I've seen that comment a lot recently, and it's honestly kind of true.
That's horrible.
I know. Okay, next question. Is it a bad idea to date your coworker? The only reason I'm answering this question again is because it gets submitted so many times every time I do a Q&A. I've done a whole video about this. I give you the breakdown. I give you each scenario of what you need to do. But the most general answer I can give is yes, it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would, again, say go watch her video because she covers it, like, short and sweet, and she covers every layer that there is to it. It's just not a good idea. There's so many other people out there. I understand you might be interested in that person. If there's a time in your life when you're both not working together, then, you know, timing's everything. You can try then, but just try to stay away from doing this. It's just probably not going to end well.
It just makes things a little bit messy, and I think sometimes if you work together, you live together, you're doing everything together, you really don't have that time to be your own person, which I think is really important for your relationship too. So go watch my video because I promise I covered every scenario under the sun. Last question is favorite fragrance for men. Again, this is one I have done so many videos about. I would say a couple of my favorites are Prada Luna Rosa Black, Maison Margiela Jazz Club. I like kind of sweeter smells, like wintry fall fragrances. I don't know what you're into.
Yeah, this is her forte, so I let her just take this one because I don't know nothing about men's fragrance. But I just like a really clean, manly smell. You know, like I'm not really into the sweet smells as much.
Okay.
I don't want to smell your BO, but I also think you should smell clean and manly.
Yeah, the most important thing is just being clean and using deodorant, to be honest with you.
Yes.
A fragrance is just a nice bonus.
At least use deodorant, please, for all the women.
All right, guys, that is all we have for today. I hope you all liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. That's where I ask all of these questions to my followers and how you can participate in the next little Q&A that we do. So as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.